When you need advice, come to Ben and Kelly. It's group therapy on 99.7 DJX.
All right, so if ever you have an issue, you just want us to kind of hash it out for you, you can always message us at Ben and Kelly Show or WDJX.com. Just click on group therapy and send it there. Hey, Craig.
Hello, good morning.
So, Craig, thanks so much for allowing us to talk to you this morning. And why don't you kind of explain to us what you're dealing with?
So I have, at my work, I have this supervisor, and she's a pretty good supervisor. She knows her stuff, and, I respect her judgment and her guidance. But my problem is that she's, very emotional. So, she always gets upset about something, and usually constantly, and it's usually over nothing.
Oh.
But she'll talk about it not on, and she'll go to the back room with my other coworkers and talk to them about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, and then when it's a work related issue, she comes to me and she'll start crying about it in my office.
Gosh.
Yeah. And it's awkward, and I don't know, exactly what to do. For example, the other morning she came into my office, closed the door, and just started crying, sobbing about what she thought was this, snippy comment someone made in a meeting. And, now, she'll hate the person, she'll never forgive them, but she'll be fine if they have, a superficial conversation, make some friends again.
Oh.
So, I don't know. I have no idea how to deal with this drama.
Are you married? Have you talked to your significant other or anybody about this?
Yeah, I have a wife, and I asked her about it, and, she tells me that women are just different, and that I should learn to accept that, but I don't know. I'm at a loss here.
Okay. All right. Well, Craig, thank you for coming to us. We'll hear from Kelly here in just a quick sec, but we'll try to help you out because work relationships are so interesting, because you can choose who you date and hang out with, but you can't necessarily choose who you're associated with at work,
Exactly. Yeah. And it's how deep should we be getting on a personal level? Is it appropriate that she's crying to me about these things?
Yeah. I hear you. All right, Craig. Well, hey, thank you. We're already getting some comments, so just sit tight and we'll see what we can do for you, okay?
All right, cool.
Could you follow up with us maybe later and then tell us how it all went?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, thank you, man.
I agree with what Elizabeth is saying on Facebook. I'd go straight to HR with this. She has no business in a management position if she goes behind the backs of anyone who upsets her, can't control her emotions while at work, makes everyone around her uncomfortable. If she's that easily offended, there's nothing you can say that she won't immediately take as a personal attack. HR is there for these situations. Let them handle it. And I completely think the problem is if she wants to confide in someone that knows about work things, it needs to be somebody on her level. She's going to someone that is subordinate to her.
Yeah.
And I think that's what really makes it awkward. And you do need to have a better handle on your emotions at work. If you're upset about things, then you need to handle it alone, but you need to try to be more professional in the office, right?
Yeah, let's, for argument's sake, say they don't have an HR at their work because
she is the HR maybe too.
Yeah, we've dealt with group therapies where there are no HRs,
right?
And so they just kind of have to deal with it on their own. And while I agree with you, and I typically say, hey, look, if you are complaining to someone who can't help you, then you're just complaining, and she needs to probably, as a boss, talk to someone and confide in someone who is at her level or above. So, and not, dump it all on poor Craig there. But,
this sounds very high school. I mean, and a lot of workplaces can be
like high schoolish
with the way people act. So I think if they, again, maybe he just goes to her and just tells her hey, I'm a little uncomfortable when you confide in me about this kind of stuff because of, my position, your position.
Well, then who can I go to? 502-571-9970.
How about Ben and Kelly?
Yeah, group therapy. Yeah, we're going to hear from his boss here in just a minute. Craig is all like, hey, I've got a supervisor at work who's very emotional and will even start crying to me about other employees. His wife's all like, hey, women are different. You got to learn to deal with it. And he's like, I don't know how to approach this.
So we've got a lot of people chiming in, especially mentioning the HR department. And we don't know if there is actually an HR department or if the supervisor is kind of like the HR department. But either way, like everyone is pretty united in the fact that she should not be like talking to him about other people, other employees.
Yeah, I mean,
she's upset with.
And I think that's sure, but we're not talking to her. So it's not, it's like, all right, so let's assume they don't have an HR department because yes, I think 100% we can end this now and say, Craig, just go to HR, just say, hey, I have an issue with my supervisor. Here's why, this is it, and all that, and let them deal with it because that's what they're paid to do. But
Mary Kay said, if you're uncomfortable, you should set boundaries. You can't control how she reacts to things, but you can control if you're the one she vents to. I just let her know it makes you uncomfortable when she comes in your office to cry and vent. And though you wish you could help in those situations, you just don't feel comfortable being that person. Side note, unless you are also a supervisor, it's unprofessional for her to be venting about other employees to you.
Yeah, Jesse's all like, yeah, women are different, but not all women are like this. Those that are can learn to manage their emotions. This argument is no different than boys will be boys. But other than that, I have no advice. Sounds like if you try to steer her better, she'll turn on you. Yeah, and that is
kind of the risk that sounds like you run with this person.
Andrew, the Love Doctor, calls our show all the time. He is our unofficial, love expert. What's your thought?
This isn't a love issue, but it's a relationship issue. There's a work relationship here.
Yeah. So what do you think?
Listen, she's got to, she's got to knock that off. Kelly's absolutely right. She's got to go to HR with those conversations, and he needs to have a conversation with her. Hey, I love that you want to come to me and you trust me and so forth, but these are conversations that should be kept out of this environment because what she's going to do is she's creating a culture where people know she's talking about them.
Yeah.
And in that environment, and that creates a culture that's toxic and not trustworthy, where there's some questions about integrity, and I can go on. I'm in a leadership role. I get it. But those are conversations that she should be taking to somebody out of that office, period, the end.
Right. Right. Yeah. And it is tough that he's in that position, but, and it is weird to have those conversations with your superior, you know?
Well, what's going to happen is if he has that conversation with her, she might get angry with him.
Yeah.
You know, she's talking about how he's talking about how she gets angry with other people. She's going to have an issue with him, but you know what? And then if she takes it out on him, then he goes to HR.
Right.
It's no place in the workplace for that at all, period.
Andrew, the Love Doctor, thank you as always.
Keep on loving, brother.
All right, see you, buddy.
Later.
You know what I love? It's such a stamp of approval when he says that Kelly Kay is just absolutely right on this one. He says that a lot. Yay.
I was going to say, I don't think that he's ever said that you're wrong.
Exactly. I know. Yay. Yay for me. So here's what I'm thinking. Bottom line is, this is just, he's got to nip this in the bud. I think the way that he said that is exactly the way he needs to approach it with her. And hopefully she's going to understand where he's coming from. If she doesn't,
Yeah.
If she doesn't, then he's going to have
find a new job.
That too. But he mentioned creating a toxic work culture. And I think that's exactly what she's doing. I'm sure the other employees know that she's talking about them. I mean, that kind of stuff tends to get around.
All right, so hopefully this helped, and please let us know what ends up happening, and
give her our number.
Yeah, give her our number, and then we can help her out too. All right.